guys, Automatic Garage coming to you today. We hadn't made a video in a while because, well, been on vacation. The lake property y'all saw in one of the previous videos where showing what my shop was going to look like. We've been running water and electric and power and a bunch of stuff like that over there and enjoying the lake too. But anyways, back to what we're doing. We got a 07 Dodge 1500 here today. And he came to me complaining about a bearing noise. And when I drove it, what it sounded like was, it almost sounded like his mud tires needed to be rotated. And it was at low, it wasn't real fast. It was about 20-30 mile an hour where you'd hear it, you'd speed up and it'd almost go away, or the tires would overpower the noise of the bearing. So I'm going to pull this passenger side front tire off real quick and I'll show you what we found, how we diagnosed it. Alright guys, so what we did was earlier I had it actually on the two-post lift. And I had someone spin the tire for me real good while I put my ear, let me point here. I took this screwdriver and put it right here on this surface and put it up to my ear, and you can hear this bearing make noise. I'm going to try to spin it and see if you can hear it, because you can hear it a little bit. So what we got to do is get that bearing. I think it's like $22 or something at O'Reilly's, this bearing right here. So we got to pull pull our hub out, pull the CV axle out, and then there's 4 bolts holding that bearing in there. So we're gonna start pulling some stuff apart and we'll catch y'all up. Alright, so after a whole lot of aggravation, I got the CV axle off. So we took our hub out, we took our spindle off, which we had to undo the upper and lower ball joints, had to take the tie rod end off, so then the whole spindle is off. Used plenty of PB blaster or WD-40, some kind of penetrant on it, and I really had to beat on this thing to get it off. I used the air hammer. It didn't make too much of a difference, but I think it helped work some of the WD-40 in there vibrating around. But beat on with a hammer a good bit, which is hard to get to. So now we're going to pull that cover off. I've already got the bolts out, and we're going to see what that bearing looks like. Got the bearing out. It's got a whole lot of slop in it. Feels good and dry. And this is actually froze up on the splines here, which I noticed when I put it on the lift, trying to get everything to spin on the front end, to drive rather, so I could try to hear the noise. His 4-wheel drive didn't work, so I'm assuming this is why. So we're going to put it on the press. We're going to press this off of these splines and get this bearing off, so I can get the bearing and the seal, and we'll lube this up real good, clean the splines up. Hopefully this 4-wheel drive will work too then. Alright guys, so it is the next day. We had to order this seal from O'Reilly's. Nobody had it, including the Dodge dealership. Dodge dealership didn't have this either. And it was $315 there, but Napa had it for $139. Here's the part number right here. Here's the bad part that goes along with it. It was made in China, so it's crap, I'm sure, compared to what the factory was. But that's what Jeff said he wanted to do, instead of paying $315 for it at the dealership. I don't even see a name on the bearing. There is a part number on it. It is not a Timken. The factory was a Timken bearing. So I guess we'll see how this holds up. But that's our stuff. And also what I just noticed a minute ago, is the race for this bearing is not even pressed in here at all. It is that loose that I can literally just pull it out. which doesn't really seem right. It seems like it ought to be a much tighter fit than that, so it may be another part of the problem. Alright, so since this was made in China, and the grease that was in there looks pretty cheap Chinese garbage to me, we put some of this CarQuest, which if you look closely, this grease here is made in the USA. So we put some superior grease in there and got rid of the inferior grease in it before we install it. So we're going to slide it in there now. We've also cleaned our surface up. I'm going to put a little Permatex on it because that is a sealing surface. And it had some kind of sealant on it from the factory, so I'm going to throw some Permatex on it and put it all in real quick. Alright, so we got our intermediate shaft put in, and I drove the sealant. It's a drive-in seal. So what I did was I cleaned the surface like y'all saw earlier, Permatexed it, got it started in the hole nice and square, tightened my bolts up to hold it just nice and flush. And then I took this piece of exhaust pipe I had here, which was just the right diameter, as you can see with the old seal here. It was just the right diameter to drive it in there. And had it sticking out here where I could actually hit it with a hammer. So now we're going to tighten all those bolts up, and then we're going to get started into putting our CV axle back on and our spindle back on. Alright, we cleaned the inside of our CV axle out with a little bit of brake cleaner and a wire brush, and then put just another little dab of that good old American grease in there to help it slide on the splines up here. So now we're going to put the CV axle on. Alright, we got CV axle back in. We're now going to tighten up our bolts for our hub on the back of the spindle here. Alright, we got everything tightened up. New intermediate shaft, new seal with the new bearing. We tightened our spindle, our upper ball joint, our lower ball joint, and our tie rod in back up. Got the brakes mounted back up. We tightened our nut back up for our CV axle. Everything sounds nice and quiet spinning. So we're going to throw the tire on and go take her for a test run. It's Automated Garage signing out. So if you got that noise, the bearing noise on the front of your Dodge, listen to that CV axle bearing in there for the intermediate shaft and see if that's what's doing it, because that's what the noise was. And I heard it right there between 20 and 30 miles an hour. It wasn't terrible, but you could tell it was a bearing noise. So use your screwdriver is what I did. Hold it up against that. You can hold on either side where that bearing is and see if you hear that rough bearing sound. And diagnose it that way. And you can replace that through Napa for I think it was $139 for the intermediate shaft with the bearing on it. At Dodge is $315. I got the seal from O'Reilly's. It was $27. They did have to special order it. So try both of those out. Like, subscribe, comment. We appreciate all y'all's likes, comments, and subscriptions to our channel. This is Automated Garage signing out. We'll holler at y'all later. We got more videos coming.